4th grade Mrs. Nelson, and we are going to be looking at parallel lines, perpendicular lines, and intersecting lines as they pertain to or deal with 2D shapes. 2D shapes means they only have length and width. You don't have prisms. Alright, so let's take a look at some common shapes you might run across, and you're going to have to decide, do they have parallel lines? Do they have perpendicular lines? And do they have intersecting lines? They might have all of these things together in one shape. Okay, so let's take a look at the first green shape. And we have to decide, does this shape have parallel lines? So we're going to look at it, and we're going to say, okay, so if I look at these two lines right here, yes, they are parallel. They will run. Now, it's only a shape, but those lines, side by side, never cross. Okay? So then let's look at another one. If we look at these lines right there, those two lines are parallel. So those lines will never cross. So when we look at this, we're going to say this line, this shape has parallel lines. Okay, now we also have to ask ourselves at this point, does not mean that this will be the only situation you see this. You're going to do other things with these shapes. Does this shape have perpendicular lines? Now remember, perpendicular lines meet in perfect right angles, corner, corner. That means they make perfect corners, 90-degree angles. I don't see 90-degree angles. I don't see perfect corners. So if I was to take a square and grab this square and try to shove it in the corner, does it fit perfectly on any of them? No, it does not. So that tells me there is no perpendicular lines on this one. So no perpendicular. No perpendicular. So there's no perpendicular lines there. So, are there any intersecting lines? Now, intersecting lines make X's. Now, do you see lines where they are really close together, are narrow? They make little tiny V's? So, if they do, yes, I'm looking here. This is a little V, and this is a little V. This is a big V. This is a big V. Big V's, little V's. Yes, these have intersecting lines. So, this has an intersecting lines. Intersecting lines. So parallel and perpendicular lines happen on this, but no parallel and intersecting, but no perpendicularity happens on that shape, that quadrilateral. So let's take a look at the triangle shape that we're looking at here. Parallel lines, do you have lines that run straight side by side? No parallel. So no parallel. No parallel at all. Perpendicular means they make perfect corners. The lines meet at perfect corners. No perpendicularity. Not perpendicular. And intersecting lines. Well, yes, because here's intersecting, because they make little tiny V's. They make either fat V's or narrow V's. These have V's. So yes, this has intersecting lines. Okay. Let's look at this yellow square here. Now this yellow square, does it have parallel lines? Lines that run side by side. Yep, we have one here and one here. We also have two here. And so yes, they're parallel lines. So we have parallel lines. Do we have perpendicular lines? Lines that meet at perfect corners, right corners. Yes. Right here, right here, right here, and right here. So this one has perpendicular lines. Okay, now, do they have intersecting lines? Meaning, do they have little tiny V's or big fat V's? Nope, they have perpendicular. All corners are perpendicular. This guy is going to be no intersecting. So no intersecting. So let's look at this guy. So this right here is that rhombus, a diamond shaped. It's basically a square. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be parallel because we have the parallel lines. and we have the perpendicular meeting at perfect right corners. No intersecting lines, meaning they don't have really narrow or really fat V's. This guy is none of them because he does have parallel lines, yes, but they also end in curves, and that doesn't really work at all. But they do have parallel lines there for a while. No corners though. So this one has corners. This one does not have corners. So you can't say do the lines meet in perpendicular? No, because they're round. Do they intersect? No, because they're round. So this one really doesn't meet any of the criteria other than, yeah, it has a pair of has a pair of parallel lines. Misspeaking myself because there's so many P's in here. All right. So you are going to take some shapes, look at them, and decide, is there parallel lines in there, perpendicular lines, intersecting lines, and then mark them as such. If you have questions or concerns, please get a hold of me. I will be seeing you on the very next video. See you soon.